March 6, 1943, 0815 hours, Gafsa Airfield, Tunisia. The engines have barely stopped when the silence settles in. Not the calm silence of order, but the hollow quiet that follows collapse. Trucks are parked crooked. Helmets lie where men dropped them. Someone has left a rifle leaning against a tent pole, forgotten. A command aircraft rolls to a halt on the dirt strip. Out steps George S. Patton, boots polished to a mirror shine that feels almost obscene against the dust. He does not smile. He does not greet the officers waiting for him. He scans them the way an inspector scans wreckage, looking not for blame, but for weakness. Less than 2 weeks earlier, at Kasserine Pass, the U.S. Army had come apart. 6,000 casualties in 48 hours, units dissolved, command posts abandoned, radios were silent when they mattered most. The Germans did not win through brilliance. They won because the Americans stopped functioning. Patton has been sent to take over 2 corps, not because he is liked, or diplomatic, or safe. He has been sent because someone must make the consequences immediate. Within 30 minutes, it happens. An officer approaches Patton, casual, bareheaded, no helmet, no sense of danger. Patton stops him mid-sentence. "Where is your helmet?" The officer hesitates, offers an explanation. There is always an explanation after defeat. Patton cuts him off. Cold, public. "You are relieved. Report to the rear." No speech, no discussion. 1 sentence, 1 career ended. The men watching don't react. They don't need to. They understand something instinctively. This is not about a helmet. It is about whether rules still mean anything after fear has taken over. Patton writes that night that discipline is not cruelty, it is clarity. And clarity after defeat is violent. This is not reform, it is triage.
And over the next 10 days, Patton will decide who is fit to lead and who will never command American soldiers again. Patton does not issue speeches, he issues standards. On the morning of March 7th, he begins visiting units, unannounced, relentless, methodical. Command posts, aid stations, gun pits. He arrives without warning and leaves without apology. His staff struggles to keep up. His intent is simple. If leadership exists, it must be visible. Officers are expected to move forward, always forward. A battalion commander is found operating from a farmhouse miles behind his men. His maps are immaculate. His boots are clean. His excuse is rehearsed. Patton listens without interruption. Then he removes the man's authority as calmly as a surgeon removes tissue that has already died. Relief follows relief, not in bursts, but steadily, a rhythm, like a metronome. The rule book, long treated as a suggestion, is suddenly literal again. Helmets are worn at all times, salutes returned, vehicles are dispersed properly, no unnecessary bunching, no wandering, no improvisation disguised as initiative. To many, it feels excessive, to some, theatrical. But Patton understands something his critics do not. Defeated armies do not fail tactically first, they fail psychologically. Men stop believing that actions have consequences. When that happens, orders become requests, and requests become noise. Patton restores consequence. Majors who fight from the line are promoted over lieutenant colonels who manage from safety. Staff officers are told to carry rifles. Clerks are ordered to dig foxholes. No one is exempt, not even Patton himself, who wears his helmet constantly, even while sleeping near the front. One officer later recalls that the rules felt humiliating until the shooting started again. Then they felt protective. In his diary, Patton writes that fear must be organized, not eliminated, channeled. Discipline, he argues, gives fear a shape it can survive inside. The purge is not random, It is precise. Those relieved are not cowards. Many are competent administrators, but they are not present where killing happens. And in Patton's calculus, absence under fire is a form of dishonesty.
By March 10th, officers begin to realize something unsettling. Patton is not angry, he is uninterested. And indifference in wartime is more dangerous than rage. By March 11th, the reliefs have a pattern, and everyone sees it. It is not incompetence that ends careers, it is a distance. Patton's inspections move closer to the front each day. He times them to artillery schedules. He appears where shells have just fallen. He watches how officers react when the ground still shakes. He asks few questions. He already knows the answers. A regimental commander briefs confidently from a dugout reinforced with timber and sandbags. His voice is steady. His charts are current. Patton listens, nods once, and then asks a single question. When was the last time you saw your forward companies? The pause is too long. Patton does not raise his voice. He does not lecture. He turns to his aide and gives an instruction that sounds administrative but lands like a sentence. Relieve him, effective immediately. Nearby, a major who has been fighting from a shell scrape, muddy, exhausted, barely shaved, is promoted on the spot, not because he is brilliant, but because he is present. This is the line Patton draws, and it is absolute. You can be cautious, you can be afraid, you cannot be absent. Even Omar Bradley, newly appointed as Patton's deputy, watches carefully. Bradley is quieter, more measured. He understands the logic, but also the cost. In his memoirs, he will later admit that Patton's method worked faster than anything else available, but it burned people permanently. German intelligence notices the change almost immediately. Post-war interviews with commanders from the 5th Panzer Army described a sudden shift. American units no longer froze when pressured. They maneuvered, they counterattacked, they stayed in place after the first contact.
The Germans had expected the collapse to repeat. It doesn't. Inside Second Corps, resentment simmers, but something else grows alongside it. Trust. Not in Patton as a personality, but in the system he enforces. Orders are obeyed because everyone knows the penalty for failure is real and evenly applied. By March 15th, the officers who remain understand the truth Patton has made unavoidable. Leadership is no longer a rank, it is a location. And the next battle will test whether this rule can survive contact with the enemy. March 23, 1943, dawn, near El Guettar. The Germans attack the way they always have, armor forward, probing hard, expecting hesitation. They expect radios to go quiet. They expect American officers to wait for permission that will never arrive. They are wrong. This time, when pressure builds, units hold. Artillery fires on pre-planned coordinates without delay. Infantry does not drift backward. Tank destroyers stay in position long enough to die or to kill. It is not elegant, it is not clever, it is stubborn, and it works. German armor breaks through the first line and is met by a second that does not panic, then a third. Mines appear where there should be gaps. Anti-tank guns keep firing after their crews take casualties. When communications fail, junior officers act without waiting. Patton is not everywhere, but his system is. Officers who would once have pulled back now stay forward because they know retreat without orders will end their careers faster than enemy fire. Majors command battalions, captains command companies under direct pressure. Decisions are made in minutes, not hours.
By nightfall, the German attack has stalled. By the second day, it had failed. Second Corps,
11 days removed from humiliation, has stopped and bloodied experienced German formations. The cost is real. Men are dead, vehicles burn. No one pretends otherwise. But the army holds. In his notes, Patton does not celebrate. He records outcomes, positions held, counterattacks launched, officers killed at the front, names marked with quiet approval. What matters is not victory, it is reliability. German after-action reports describe American resistance as unexpectedly tenacious, a careful phrase, an admission. Inside Second Corps, the meaning is clearer. The purge worked. Not because Patton shouted louder than fear, but because he made fear predictable. You knew what would happen if you failed. You also knew what would happen if you stood your ground. The price was ruthless clarity, and it had been paid in advance. The purge ends quietly. There is no announcement, no final list, no declaration that the army is fixed. Patton simply stops relieving officers at the same pace. The inspections continue, but the outcomes change. Fewer removals, more confirmations. What remains is not harmony, but alignment. The officers who survived those 10 days carry the mark of it for the rest of the war. Many will later command divisions and corps in Europe. They will cross rivers under fire. They will break out of Normandy. They will make mistakes, serious ones, but they will not disappear when pressure arrives. The officers Patton relieved almost never returned to combat leadership.
Not because they were dishonorable, but because the war no longer had time for hesitation. In later years, the story hardens into myth. Patton becomes a caricature, either a savior or a tyrant. The helmet story turns into folklore. The reliefs are described as temper, not method. But the records do not support that comfort. Patton did not remove officers to inspire fear. He removed them to restore causality, to make actions matter again in an army that had briefly lost that connection. Omar Bradley would later write that Patton did what others could not or would not do under the same pressure. Bradley himself would lead differently, more patiently, more humanely, but he never undid what Patton had enforced. He built on it. That is the uncomfortable truth. The transformation of II Corps did not come from new equipment, longer training cycles, or better doctrine. It came from accountability, applied faster than morale could collapse again. What was gained was an army that could be trusted under fire. What was lost was something quieter. Careers ended without appeal, men judged in days rather than years, dignity traded for survival. And what could never be recovered was the illusion that leadership could be learned safely, at a distance, while others absorbed the risk. Patton saved the army in 10 days, but he did it by proving something the war would repeat again and again. In combat, mercy delayed is often cruelty multiplied, and accountability once postponed must return all at once.